What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. You see it, SKF Weekly. We back, baby. Let's go! Yes, we are back. Isn't everybody excited? Let's go, Knicks! Yeah! Oh. Sorry, guys. Well, listen, let's talk about something that is good, that is positive. Happy MLK Day to everybody. That's right, Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Hopefully those who have been able to take off and enjoy yourselves, enjoy your families and stuff, great to you guys. And for those who unfortunately had to work because, you know, it is what it is, hope you had a good day as well. My guy, John, how you doing, brother? We back. It's Monday. You know what it is.
I made it. Yes, I'm here. Finally, made it to the new year.
Yep.
What's going on with you?
Man, I can't complain, bro. We here. We back. Unfortunately, we wish the news was a little better for today's game, but you know, not everything can work out the way you want it to work out. We got a lot to get into, folks, and believe me, we got just the crew to get into it with. This is going to be interesting. Oh man. Oh man. If the fourth quarter just a little different, if it just start. Okay, whatever. I'm done. Anyway, John,
I want to go in, but I'm not going to because we need the fellas
don't worry.
here to go all the way through.
There'll be some time. Oh my God. Okay, guys. Anyway, listen, you already know what it is, man. We're going to get into it, but we got our guys here today. The fastest growing YouTube channel in the Knicks community. That's right. We got the fellas. I mean, and there's so many different channels. I mean, within the network. You know what I mean? Yankees Morning Brew, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Brew, all the brews. You know, all the brews is out here, man. But we got the guys here. Let's give a shout out to my fellas, man. Jigga, Phil, Hector, they in the building.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
What up,
guys? What's good?
Yes, man. Good to see you guys. And shout out to Jerry, who couldn't be here. He's out of town. But also shout out to my guy, Eddie Presti, man. Appreciate you as well. You know, we want to be able to include as many people as we can on the show and show as much love because we enjoy chopping it up with everybody. But we realized something today, and I didn't even know this. We are limited to 5 people. So this is as much as we could do, but we're going to make it the best. And who knows? Perfect. Listen, what we can do later is get Eddie on a future show. Or maybe when Jerry's back, we can get Jerry on a future show. We'll make it work.
Definitely.
Anyway. Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you guys. You know, it's always a fun time. We always love chopping it up with you guys. Just wish it was under better circumstances. But anyway, How's your day going, guys? Jigga, how you feeling, brother?
Look, Ron. I woke up today. I was cracking horrible jokes on our show this morning. I was like, "How you do, Sin?" I was ready to keep that going, and then the game happened at 3:00. All right, and you know damn well. Let's be real. Every single person on this panel in the chat was like, "We really gonna talk about Knicks tonight? We really got to talk about this damn game." But you know what? At least it's with you guys. All right. If it was anybody else, Ron and John, I would have faked something. I'd be like, "Oh damn, guys. I don't know where I got COVID, like just over the last 30 minutes. I can't make it tonight."
I listen, man. I hear you. It's a tough one. Phil, how you feeling, brother?
Yo, I'll be honest, man. Like, I appreciate you guys and anyone else who does post-game shows because you're better than I am. Because when I have at least a night to digest something like the whooping that we saw, you know, in our last game and then having to watch today, I at least can sleep it off and come with a positive attitude. But after what we just witnessed coming right on the show, I feel like the burden is like right here and that chip on my shoulder is right here. And I feel like certain players are going to get crucified a lot worse from me than they would if I waited till the morning. So tip my hat off to you guys because there's some things I said in the show this morning that people were like, it was only one game against, you know, whatever. don't jump out the building, you're overreacting. And then we saw those same things again tonight. So if you're watching from this morning, I'm coming at you. You watch.
Oh boy. Oh man.
Spicy.
Hector, what's your thoughts, brother? How you feeling today?
My guys, I'm feeling good. You know, I'm trying to stay positive like always. Everybody calls me Mr. Positive, but no, it's a horrible loss. A game that I know we're going to get into and peel back the layers. You know, it's like an onion having these conversations when it comes to the Knicks. But I appreciate you fellas. You know, I appreciate my guys Celso and Phil as well. You know, I wouldn't rather be any place else but with you guys to have this conversation. And shout out to the chat and shout out to the entire still Knicks fan community.
Yes, man. Yeah. Oof, it's tough, man. It's tough. John, you know what I mean?
Let's not wait, man. Let's get right into it, man.
Look how hesitant. John, look how hesitant Ron wants to get the combo started. He's like, so, anybody else want to talk about the weather first? Anything else besides the Knicks?
I hear we have snow coming.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Yeah, it was snowing yesterday uptown. I'm not sure about you guys down in Brooklyn, but it was snowing in Inwood.
Was it?
See?
Okay.
Avoiding the Knicks conversation. You know? Keep it up.
Yeah, man.
It got cold
all right,
here.
Guys.
It got a little chilly here in Florida. But that's about
it. Okay. All right. Let's pull the Band-Aid off. All right. So there's no placeholder for today's game. I probably should have did one, but I was just thinking it's today's game. Y'all know what it looked like. Okay. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, guys, if you've been busy, whatever, under a rock, wherever you've been, the Knicks played the Orlando Magic today in the matinee, whatever, Martin Luther King Jr. Day game. And the Knicks were going back and forth. It was a tight game, all game to halftime. Third quarter, the Knicks made a nice little...
Stop it, Ron. The Knicks blew it. Okay,
that's it. Right, hold on. Let's look at the
I don't want to recap it. They do it.
They look good.
Trade everybody. This shit's over. I'm done.
They looked good. Where? What game did you watch?
They looked good in the third quarter, and once we got into the fourth quarter, that's when the rails came off. Man, I don't know what happened.
Man, that's
all right,
like
the Knicks lost 98-94.
That's like saying in high school, like, oh well, she's a sweet girl. Like, stop. You know what that really meant. So saying we looked good in the third quarter is just sugarcoating that we looked like trash.
We was all right.
Third
quarter.
Yeah.
We was all right.
No.
All right.
Shout out. Blowing up everybody's excuses in high school.
Shout out to Deuce. You know, shout out to Deuce. 20 points for Deuce. You guys don't like that, you know? 4 of 10.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what? Good point, Hector. That's what I'm talking about. You see, there's a positive. Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? Deuce had 20 points, guys. Look at the Deuce is loose. 20 points for Deuce. Dante had 15. Isaiah had 7 and 12.
I want to give a shout out to Coach Tibbs comb over. It was on fleek today. I want to give
it was.
Deuce couldn't even throw up deuces with his amount of assists. Like,
this is a bitter bunch, guys.
He couldn't even He couldn't even put up a deuce with his assist.
But but you don't gotta point that out. We celebrate him for his points, bro. You don't gotta point out the negative part of it. You dick.
You don't want to point out the thing that got us to
lose. Okay, and then Julius had 15, 6 and 5. His shot was gone tonight, folks. It was horrible. OG had 17 points and 2 rebounds and 4 assists. He had a decent game. There was certain things that came out of this game about OG. We can talk about that as well. But in the end, and then, you look at the Orlando Magic, they had 4 guys in double figures just like us. Nothing spectacular. Banchero, who apparently is the best player on the floor, according to people around ESPN and BSPN and all that. Whatever. Anyway, and Kenny Smith, he had 20 points. And so nothing crazy. 20, 15, 17, 15. Their numbers were average. This was just a bad loss, guys. This was another one of those games where you hate to say it, but you got to tell me, it's like Is this team a team? I mean, we won a game without him already, but are we not really a team when we don't have Jalen Brunson out there? Can we not win a game? But what is this? I don't know.
Well, we won one. We won a game without
I know,
Jalen Brunson
but
recently.
the team we played was so inept. How could we lose that game? Like, we should have won just for showing up.
This team right now was so inept that we should have won this game. That was crazy.
No. Orlando plays better than the freaking Memphis Grizzlies.
They played horribly. Orlando played horribly, and we still couldn't pull out a win. You kidding me?
But they got defenders.
In our bag.
They got defenders.
They were giving us the game.
Let's be real, though. Yeah, and that's what I was about to say, John. Let's be real. They gave us the game several times. We blew this game ourselves. Okay, we say it time and time again. Okay, we can sit here and harp on the Jalen Brunson situation. We can harp on all the other narratives. At the end of the day, I don't care what team you are. If you're not hitting your freaking free throws, if you're not boxing out to get rebounds, you're not going to win a game. Mark, tell me if I'm wrong. Was it 14 or 15 points in the fourth quarter? You're not winning games when you're putting up 14, 15 points in an entire quarter and you're missing free throws. Okay, we can sit here and talk about the guy's shots that weren't falling. And you know what? I've been positive Randall all freaking season. But after today, I texted the guys right after the game. I said, oh, shit, is it going to be on Ron and Johns that I go off on what the hell is going on with Randall? Because not only is it the usual – listen, I've accepted the lack of defense you get from Randall. Okay, but when you have an opportunity to be the Randall we need you to be with Brunson out, and you give us the lack of effort and the shit ass plays that you gave us tonight, then this is when I get angry. I'm like, what are we doing? Here's my conspiracy, guys. Next 2 games, don't be surprised you see Randall's ass out and Julian Brunson is back. Okay, so they can keep testing on what do we need to fix. What did we solve today? Deuce McBride, the kid can ball. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit here and put the stamp of approval that Deuce is the guy that's going to lead the squad or lead a unit. To me, he's not there yet. He's not someone that's going to lead and facilitate the right way. So that's all I've figured out from this one. But when I tell you, I think I reached my limit and I didn't want to get here this early in the season, but Randall pissed me off this game, man. Big time.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing.
Sorry.
We've talked about it many times. Aggressive. You know, with a season is long, injuries happen, but it's got to be next man up mentality. You know, like who's the next guy that can at least carry you? So if you look at a team like if Tatum gets injured, you still have like a Jalen Brown that can step up and still make them competitive. We realized in this game and the one before, if Jalen Brunson goes out for the playoffs, we might as well just call it in. Because if Julius Randle's our next man up, we have a big issue. Like in a chance where he could have been that guy and bully ball and help us get revenge on the game that Orlando beat us last time, he went 27.8% from the field. 27.8. Like that is rough. And the fact of the matter is, we know he hasn't been shooting well from 3. So why would tonight, when we don't have another bucket getter, is this the night that you try to shoot 9 3-pointers when none of them are going in, going 2 for 9? And if you have a bad game, you have a bad game. But if you watch that play starting at the 2-minute and 40-second mark, where Julius Randle just stops running with everybody, they get multiple rebounds. Julius Randle stands in the same position for almost 30 seconds without even trying to guard anybody. That's a huge issue. Like he gave up on that team before the fourth quarter, and you saw it. That's not something that you really want to build your goals on going into the playoffs. So unfortunately, we've learned that even though McBride is well, he cannot lead the team. And if Julius Randle is our second man up to lead a team, that's an issue because all the other team needs to do is throw on a big defender. Jonathan Isaac had him in prison. Like, you just see how flustered he was trying to go up against Jonathan Isaac. If that's all a team has to do, our playoff dreams are going to get crushed if Jay gets injured.
This game just goes to show you how important Jalen Brunson is, especially in that fourth quarter. Not having Jalen Brunson to facilitate, to help us close out the game, it stuck out like a sore thumb. And I've been trying as much as I can to have an open eye or just an open opinion when it comes to Julius Randle. But this game right here this was supposed to be a statement game from Julius Randle. He had an off game against Memphis without Jalen Brunson inside of Madison Square Garden. Julius Randle was supposed to go off today. And, you know, I've seen people blaming it on jet lag because, you know, he was flying back and forth from Dallas yesterday. And I don't want to hear it. Should be no excuses. This was the game that Julius Randle was supposed to step up and take control, especially without Jalen Brunson in the starting lineup, just to shut up the narrative when it comes to Knicks fans wanted to trade him. He just gave all those Knicks fans out there that want to trade Julius Randle, he just gave them a bunch of ammunition to use against him. This game is a prime example. If you put it on a highlight reel, this is the first clip you put on why Julius Randle shouldn't be the number one option on a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it even further. Why
Ooh,
should Knicks fans
it's hot tonight, folks.
Let's take it a little further. Why should Knicks fans even vote for the guy for the All-Star team? Why?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's take it there. Listen.
Yeah.
Wow.
I give him props for how he's played the entire season. He's done great this entire season. But these last two games where he lacked the effort, Knicks fans want you to bring it day in and day out. We don't want you to take breaks. If you're going to take a break, you might as well take a seat. Take a seat. Don't come into the game suited up. If that's how you feel about today's game, guess what? DNP me right now because I don't feel up to it. And at least we could say, you know what? He needs a break. But to come out there and play the way he did, it's not even all-star worthy. That's not what all-stars get paid to do. It's just not in New York. You don't do that. You don't do that. Yep. You might as well give us another thumbs down. You might as well. It was ridiculous.
Facts, John.
Ron,
yeah.
Listen, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was watching the game. I was like, all right, maybe he's going to get it together in the third quarter. All right, now he's going to bring it in the fourth. Like, you got no other alternative but to bring it in the fourth. You haven't played hard the entire game. And then he does absolutely nothing in the fourth.
Yeah, and you thought for a split second he hit that three, and then that next one where he drew the foul, right? But then he misses those two free throws, and that was it. After those two missed free throws, it went even more downhill from there. He just
and then on the defensive side, he's just like checked out on the defensive side, like he was missing the rotations. And then passing.
He's busy telling everybody where to go, but he's nowhere. Let me tell everybody else where they need to be.
He's passing off his man. He's passing off his man left and right. Like, go get him. Go get him. Go get him. How many times you going to keep missing the rotation and saying DiVincenzo off to the corners when that's your guy? It was ridiculous.
I listen, I can't say you guys are wrong to feel how you feel. I mean, Julius has not been looking good in these last couple games, especially now that Brunson is out. Like, this is when you got to step up and show that. I mean, okay, you don't want to be the leader every day. Fine. We got somebody for that. But right now, you need to be the guy. And he hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked like he's the man that we can trust going forward when we're in situations, because anything can happen. Now, what I will say another thing with this too. Why is it that other coaches we watch make adjustments, right? Now, I'm not blaming Thibodeau. This is still on Julius. But why is it that other coaches can make offensive adjustments? You got a whole bunch of coaches behind you. You got different tricks in your bag. Everybody's played basketball their whole lives. They know all types of things to do. You telling me that a guy like Julius Randle, who you know you need to step up, is struggling all game. Now, granted, Orlando did have one of the best defenders out there. He's one of the best defenders out there in the league. Jonathan Isaac is a lockdown type defender. And he frustrated him. But it wasn't just him. So if you don't got it going for Julius, you don't know how to say, okay, I've watched Julius put the back down enough. It ain't happening. Let me, run Julius off a curl, a pick, a screen, a backdoor cut. Let me get him some quick opportunities where he can get under the rim. Because once he's under the rim, it's all Julius. He's going to draw a foul. He's going to get something out of it. He's not getting anything. Like, that's what frustrates me about Tom Thibodeau and his vanilla offense. You don't put guys in a situation to get easy baskets, to get them out of a slump, or to even help the ball movement. This is one of those games where, honestly, if we're being honest, guys, the Knicks were probably better off without Julius tonight too. They would have probably been better off watching a bunch of guys, names, go out there, do their thing, move the ball, and they probably would have got a better output.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ron,
And I mean,
what
we
was
can talk
also
about the
frustrating,
Tears
No, I was going to say, you look at the box score, Julius Randle, 2 of 9 from the field. He wasn't even driving to the paint. He wasn't even trying to get down there. He wasn't even trying to throw his weight around to get to the foul line. He was settling for the outside shot. And you can't do that, especially in the fourth quarter when you're trying to stop the clock, when you're trying to stop Orlando's momentum. You got to be able to drive to the paint and draw a foul and get to the line and stop the momentum that Orlando was building at that moment. And when you look at the defensive side of things, right, we got Deuce McBride hustling back on a fast break, trying to break up a fast break, diving on the floor. You got the big ragu, Dante DiVincenzo, getting in the passing lane, fighting through screens. But when you look at Julius Randle, he is just disengaged out there defensively, and he shows no effort whatsoever. He's just standing around. He's not trying to fight through screen. He's not trying to communicate with his teammates or help pick up a defender on a pick and roll or switch on a defender or even try to double team somebody at the high post. He's not trying to do any of that, and that's what's just frustrating.
Yeah, you know what's annoying is like Clyde always says something, when he's talking, and he'll be like, redeeming himself after missing those free throws by going down and, helping on the defensive end. Or, you didn't hear that at all from Julius Randle. Like he misses 2 free throws and then he's the last one back. And then instead of actually like doing anything to impact the game for the fact that he just missed 2 clutch free throws, play some defense, get it back, help us get another opportunity, he stands there and then starts barking orders like he's a freaking, airplane attendant telling people where to go. Like he's directing planes instead of actually doing anything himself. So it's frustrating for me because it's like, if you miss those free throws, fine. Get back, help us get another shot to get back in this game. Look at the last few times that Julius Randle has given up in a game, it's still while we're in striking distance. It's still with a minute to 2 minutes left in the game with us only down 3 to 5 points, and he has given up. Like, 2 minutes left, we're not going to win, I'm done. Like, that is not something we can really rely on or bank on. And I'm sorry, like up to this point, I've been like, vote for him, vote for him, vote for him. And I'm not going to like jump off a cliff for one game, but this hasn't been one game. Like, why is this starting to happen now, at a crucial part of the season for us? Like, this is frustrating. Like you saw in the first few games, him constantly looking for OG. Now it's just like, if OG's open, he'll get it, but he's not looking to actually like help create offense. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to, like Hector, I'm not going to allow, a jet lag or he got his foot stepped on. He's still there. Like when it came to him having the ball in his hand, the effort was still there for him to try to get points. Going to use that ankle, situation to justify the defense if he has the energy and effort to try and still put up numbers offensively with that same situation.
Although before we get it over to Jigga, he might have been jet lagged, but even if he was, whose fault is that?
Fact.
Whose fault is that? Like he stood around to watch the Dallas Cowboys. Like, come on.
Dennis Rodman came back from Dennis Rodman came back from like being in the NWO, like to come play with the Chicago Bulls. Like he wasn't just jet lagged; he was drugged up too. He still came and played ball. So I can't use that as justification.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And technically, if he was Phil, wouldn't that have enhanced his play? But I'm just But anyway, I'm just saying, like, whatever. Sorry, that's Rodman. Sorry, forget it. Jigga, what were you gonna say, my brother?
Well, I was just going to say, it's crazy because I think what hurts most is these are the games we want to be stacking up the wins. This is the part of the schedule we were looking forward to, the part of being home the next 12 or 14, right? Like having all that to our advantage, and this is the outcome we have. And then what makes it even worse is we're just back where we are every season, where we're sitting here saying the same thing. Oh, we know what we get from Randle. This is what you'll see, some games from Randle. And we've gotten to a point where we just accept it because it's been forced on us. But at what point is it that we all just on the same page? We don't hate Randle. We don't not appreciate what he brings to the team. But when he has the games like this and shows this is who he is. This is when it's frustrating. We don't mind the lack of effort when he's putting the points up or if there's no turnovers. But when you're still giving us the turnovers, you're missing free throws, and then you're not giving us effort, and we lose to the Magic, who was also depleted tonight, that's when things get brought to the front, man. Like, it's frustrating because it takes away from some of the highlights today, right? Because, like you said, Deuce, right? Great. Dante DiVincenzo, great. But then you got to sit there, and the biggest question is, what is this team if we don't have a Julius Randle and we don't have a Jalen Brunson? We don't win any games. You guys see us winning games without both of them there?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Nope.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to pile it on. I'll get over to you 1 second. Heck, I don't want to pile it on with Julius, but now that I'm thinking about it, it makes it even worse. So you stick around to see the Cowboys play. I get it. It's just the playoffs. You're a Cowboy fan.
Was that confirmed?
I understand.
Was he really at the Cowboy game?
Yeah.
He really was there. He was there.
Oh, he was.
With his son, yeah.
But you. Yeah,
so he brought
you
back
know
that
you
losing
gotta
mentality, basically.
Oh no!
Boom! That's all, folks. He's out.
Damn,
He's out of here.
You cannot, man. You queued that one up, Jigga. That was great. That was fantastic.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you know Jalen is hurt, right, and he's kind of managing an injury, I mean, do what you got to do. I get it. It's an experience for your son. You're a Cowboy fan. I get all of that, but sometimes things. I mean, we've watched like some of the best athletes in the world, even some of the best executives in business. Well, they got to do their job. They do their job, and sometimes they sacrifice stuff that they want to do for fun or enjoyment. And in this case, this was a moment where you got to sacrifice something.
Mm-hmm. But Ron, when in that game do you decide to take the red eye back to New York? It was they were down by how much in the fourth quarter? They were not coming back. Like, you got to take the first red eye out at that point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't stay to the after party. Like, that don't make no sense. There ain't no after party.
Yeah. Here's the thing about that. I absolutely love the fatherhood of Julius Randle. Like, I love.
And then Phil, pass it over to Heck once you're done.
Yeah, I love that he does these things with his son. I love that he's creating memories and stuff like that. But if me, who I'm making everyday average money, I can't come in and put a subpar performance at my job when I'm not making a ton, but I have to take the responsibility of the fact that I have work the next day. This guy is getting paid millions of dollars to come play basketball. And you're going to take a jet lag flight after you already had a piss poor performance the night before, and your team is now on a losing streak. You know your best player is not available, and the ball is in the hands of a guy who's only started one NBA game so far in his career, and you're going to take that risk of showing up as a subpar performer and it be okay and still, expect all-star and all that stuff. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, you got to put priority on your team. If you're saying, I want to bring a chip to New York, show us that you want to bring a chip to New York. Like, efforts like tonight don't show that you want to bring a chip to New York.
No, it definitely doesn't. And all I wanted to add on when it comes to Julius Randle, because I don't want this to seem like we're here having a conversation with Ron and John just to beat up on Julius Randle. I voted for Julius Randle for the All-Star game, right? But to John's point, what he brought up earlier, this performance that we saw right now doesn't warrant an All-Star vote, right? I've been preaching and screaming from on top of the hell. Vote for Julius Randle. Vote for Jalen Brunson. Vote for our guys. Go to Indiana. I ain't doing it anymore until he shows me that he's changed or he shows me a little something different on the court. I'm not going to, right? So, again, like I said, I don't want people just to randomly click on this video and see where we're at right now and say, oh, these guys are just beating on Julius Randle. No. We've been supporting him all season. I've been one of the first ones out of the three of us to say that when it comes to Julius Randle, he has been more efficient this season. This is the best season he's had with the Knicks since he done signed with us. But the past two performances ain't it. And it sucks that it happens when Jalen Brunson is not there, because then, again, the narrative starts piling on top of each other to just show that he cannot lead a team. This is the one thing we've been complaining about. He cannot lead a team. This is proof. 2 games back to back. One against Memphis with no John Morant, no Desmond Bain. A G League team is out there. He struggled. Tonight, he struggled again.
Yeah.
You ready for this one, Ryan and John? I want to throw this at you guys because I believe it was Heck that pulled these stats up earlier. You guys know what our record is with teams over 500?
Oh, boy. What is it?
Not off the top of
Heck,
the dome. I don't.
I think you sent me over the right numbers, right? 7 and 17?
Mm-hmm.
7 and 17.
Mm-hmm.
So we can nitpick about the Julius stuff when we're looking at 7 and 17. We can nitpick about the guys on the team that aren't performing, not out of hate, out of 7 and 17. Because yes, we're finally beating the teams we're supposed to. We're not messing around with our food, blah, 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 blah. Great. I'm happy that we're there because we all remember 3 years ago, that wasn't the case. Shit, 2 seasons ago, we were still sitting there against teams we should be still having to compete and play at their level. But we are now at a point where we cannot continue to see us just get smacked around by teams above 500, man. 7 and 17? That doesn't sit well with me, guys.
No, 2-2 after the OG trade, and today would have been the perfect win for us because we would have been 3-1 against teams over 500 ever since the OG trade, giving us that momentum we need in this moment right now when we're at home. Majority of this month, we got to the easy part of the schedule, and we're gonna go crap the bed first day at the Garden. No way.
Yeah,
see, and this is what I'm saying. This goes back to everything that we've talked about earlier today. It's just really goes back to effort, because at the end of the day, whether Julius missed the 2 free throws or he made the 2 free throws, it was about the lack of effort in the last 2 losses. Mm-hmm. That's really what it comes down to. Because if you give us effort, we're gonna stick by you, and that's just what I hate about some in Knicks fandom. They want to ride the coattails of a player, and they aren't willing to put them look at them objectively.
Put their emotions
and say,
aside.
Body of work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, put your emotions aside. It's like, look at the body of work. Yeah, the body of work looks great. But when you have situations like this, like a game today or the game against Memphis, where you should be the best player on the court, regardless of what the media says, you should be the best player on the court, and you don't. You just lay an egg. So then you're not the best player. You're definitely not the best player on our team. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you're not the best player on the court because you just proved it against nobodies. So you shouldn't deserve an all-star bid. The coaches should look at this and say, yeah, guess what? I don't know if he should be a part of the all-star team. Because remember, the fans
unfortunately, I think that's going to happen, John.
Well, we'll see.
And
I think you're right. I think that's going to happen.
Last thing I'll say about the Julius Randle thing is fans were so livid that Paolo Banchero has gotten, more votes than he has, or that he's been, called the better player on the court, In a game like this, it makes it hard for Knicks fans to argue the opposite. Because even though it wasn't Paolo's greatest game, Paolo never stopped with effort, whether he missed a shot, whether he missed a call, missed a play. He was never giving up on his team. He gave a full effort every single minute that he was out there.
And he gets clutch points in the fourth when it matters.
Yeah. And this kid is in his second year. Randall is supposed to be our vet. He's supposed to be the guy that's got the experience, the guy who's played with Kobe, that's supposed to be our, ticket for him, is that he has the experience, he has the years. Well, Paolo is showing a kind of character straight off the bat. The numbers aren't that far different that you can give Julius Randle an upper hand if at the end of the day, Paolo Banchero is playing for his team and playing for, the whole game. And that's what we saw with Paolo. And this is a guy, I said it in our show this morning, that Paolo was the kind of player that saw how he blew the layup in the last game where they got a loss. He had a perfect putback to put them back into the game, to tie it up, and the ball weirdly just slipped out of his hands. And you could see how defeated he was in himself. Kept playing the rest of the game, didn't give up, but they lost the game because of that. That he was going to come back, and he wanted to make sure he did not do that again. Like, he is that kind of player that he's going to learn from his mistakes, and he's going to come back and play differently. That's not what we're seeing in these last 2 games with Julius Randle. And so that's why I have to say I'm not going to combat that anymore with people that are saying Paolo is a different kind of player than Julius Randle. Because tonight, he was.
Yeah, I want to echo real quick before I do that. I want to shout out Guillermo in the chat, my guy, Legion of Knicks podcast. Shout out to Gmo in the chat. 2 things I noticed today when it comes to Pablo Banchero, just like Phil just said. In today's game, definitely better than Julius Randle. Second thing I noticed, my man's out there playing with the same haircut Bow Wow had in the movie Like Mike. That he was out there looking like Calvin Cambridge with that haircut and the headband on his head. But no, what is more frustrating about what's going on with this whole entire Julius Randle situation is with the way that he has been playing, what GM is going to want him? Who's going to want him? If you think about it, right? If we're trying to upgrade over Julius Randle and get better, if we try to use him in a trade, what team that is contending right now is going to want to trade for Julius Randle? Right? Maybe Charlotte because they need to fill some seats and sell some tickets. Maybe the Pelicans, right? Because he was good when he was with the Pelicans for that short stint that he was with them before he came over to the Knicks, right? But any team that's contending, Philadelphia, it's not going to try to trade for Julius Randle. Any team on the West that's contending in the top ain't going to try to trade for Julius Randle, right? So we're stuck with Julius Randle at the moment until we find like a perfect trade candidate or whoever. We're stuck with him for the time being.
Yeah, you might be right on that. Although something tells me that, but I don't know what they would give us for him. But something tells me that the Dallas Mavericks would like Julius Randle. But I don't know. That's just a feeling I get. But
you talking about the Knicks 2.0 over there in Dallas?
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna give us Tim Hardaway Jr. for the 3rd time. We're getting Tim Hardaway back for the 3rd time.
You know what? I'm sorry I said anything. Stop it, Phil. Don't do that. That's bad. That's like Unka Bunka. You know what I mean? That's like the boogeyman. Don't do it.
Knicks are nice just brought it in the chat. Would you guys do a Zion for Randle? Would you guys do that
easy
at this time?
Well,
right
now?
Hold on. Julius
hold
Randle?
on. Don't answer.
All right, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Don't mean to jump the gun. No. I'm sorry, Ryan.
No.
You're not on your show, Hector. Sit back. Stop pressing buttons. All right.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say, shout out to the chat. I appreciate you guys. Listen, we are really close. So if you guys haven't already subscribed to the show, we are almost at 3,000 subscribers. All we need is 594 more people. If you just hit that subscribe button right now, we'll get to our goal of 3,000. So salute to you guys. But anyway, but seriously, guys, shout out to the chat. We got some super chats in here that I want to get to. I just want to shout y'all. Y'all can't see them, but I see them. So I just want to shout these people out real quick. Shout out to Walter Blackman. Thank you for the generous super chat. I appreciate you as always, my brother. I hope you are doing well. Also, I want to shout out my guy, the art man, formerly known as Steve. Thank you for the generous super chat. As always, brother, you're a big contributor to the show, and I appreciate you always tuning in and watching everything we've got going on here, SKF. He said, evening, fellas. Do y'all know of what rhymes with Beyonce? Get DeJounte. Also, we have to monitor Brunson
giddy.
Also, we have to monitor Brunson because of calf strains and Achilles injuries are cousins. That's a very fair point. Very true. Yeah. It's not something to take lightly. So, yeah, if Brunson feels like he's not quite ready yet, I'm glad he took today off, even though he looks like we needed him. But that's okay. I'd rather take the loss today to be able to get a win on Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens. But anyway, let me do a quick little rundown because the chat is not tremendously huge. I can say what's up to everybody. So I already said Walter Blackman. Craig is in the building. We got our guy Jacob here. Knicks and Nice is here. Big Task at Hand is in the building. Angel Torres is here. Dwayne Dennis. We got Delano Steele Jr. in the building. What's good, my brother? We got Knicks fan Brasil Victor in the building. Salute. D-Raz is here. Salute. The Woogieack. What's going on, my brother? I appreciate you as always. Good to see you. Let's see here. We got Wiz BKLA in the building. King Ribby is here. Salute. Mega NYK in the building. JJ is here. DJ Cash is in the building. Kung Fu D in the building. Okay, never again. I'm not gonna do it again. I'm sorry.
That was a good attempt. That was a good attempt. It was a good attempt. It was borderline offensive, but it was a good attempt.
My bad. But his name is Kung Fu. I mean, sorry. Shout out to Boulevard 73 in the building. One half of the 718 boys. Check them out. Blorange Tears Sundays at 10 a.m. David Rios is in the building. Salute. As Hector said, our guy Guillermo is in the building. Legion of Knicks podcast. Get well soon, brother. I know you're under the weather, so take it easy. Some chicken soup. Let's see. Manchild is here. Appreciate you. I think I got everybody that yeah. If I missed you, it's not for lack of trying. Soul Finger's in the building. What up, Soul Finger? D'Angelo is here. Salute. Appreciate you guys. And Bricks Nation, D Bucket's in the building. Okay. All right, guys. So back to the regularly scheduled programming. I just wanted to give you guys a shout out and also give some love to the super chats. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I'm glad I left I'm glad I left my sweater on. Sorry, Ron, real quick, because I got the same undershirt that Phil has on, right? And I'm glad that we don't look like twins at the moment. So I appreciate the fact that I left my sweater on. I'm just saying.
I had to check real quick. I was like, oh shit. I'm good.
You guys really you're great.
What was it, a fire sale? Was it a fire sale?
No. It was from it was
actually, humble brag, but Starks sent us each the shirt from his
John Starks. Edition. This is
Let's go. Yeah, shout out to Starks for their brand.
Oh wow, y'all getting memorabilia from Starks and stuff.
I didn't
know. Look at that.
Now he wants a match. Now he wants a match.
Oh, I mean, is it autographed?
No,
it's not that exclusive. We ain't there yet.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll call my people if you want them autographs. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
All right, thank you. You can hook us up.
I'm messing with y'all.
I don't want
to
feel left out. We're good now, guys.
Look at this. Look at these guys. You know what I'm talking about? The Morning Brew, man. The Morning Brew.
Up here looking like
Ron, can I ask you a serious question?
Yes.
Ron? Because it's been bothering me about this game. Does anybody here think that if we set Julius Randle, we would have won that game?
That's what I said. That's what I was alluding to earlier. I think we would have had a better chance had Randle not even played, because these guys know that they have to do a lot more to get a victory. They got to move the ball. They got to believe in each other. They would have been doing more fundamental things that we need to have out there in the basketball court to get the victory. I think we would have been a better, because really, when you think about it, no offense to Randle for tonight. I mean, tonight, yes, but in general, what did he really add tonight that we couldn't have gotten from someone else? You know what I mean? If you look at it, here's my problem. And we can go to the question that you brought up, Hector. The Paolo Banchero thing, you can say what you want about Paolo. I mean, there was no, Mo Wagner out there. Franz Wagner. But Paolo had to be the guy. And if you look at the box score, he was their guy. Other guys had good games, but he was their guy. If you look at the Knicks game, Julius Randle needed to be, if at bare minimum, best player from the Knicks side. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Deuce had a better offensive game. And if you really want to look at it, in foul trouble and the amount of time that was out there, Isaiah Hartenstein had a great game for the amount of time he was out there. So I'm like, that's what bothers me. That is for, because I got somebody out there who sometimes he would come at me and say I'm a Randle hater. I don't know where that came from. I like Randle. I always talk good about Randle, except when he does something that I don't agree with. But who cannot be upset with the fact that Randle wasn't even the best player on your team tonight? And we're talking about Deuce, and I'm giving Isaiah Hartenstein bigger props. That's crazy.
People are talking about how OG is limited right now in how this Knicks offense is running, and OG had a better game than Julius Randle, offensively and obviously defensively. Like, he at least was 75% from three, 46% from the field goal, but at the end of the day, he was putting in work, like for his role. And he's not the guy that had the ball in his hand a ton, So I do believe that you would have seen more from the guys who were playing well if Julius Randle had been set. Like, and that's where it becomes a coaching thing, like, are you ever going to see Julius Randle play less than 25 minutes a game, no matter how bad he's playing? Of course not. That's never going to happen in a Tom Thibodeau game. But when he's playing this poorly, offensively, defensively, and effort, it is a crime for Thibodeau to keep him in for 38 minutes of the game. When you have guys like McBride, OG, Hartenstein, and yes, Hartenstein had some foul trouble, but even freaking Grimes was having a better game than him. So distribute it amongst the players that are playing better. And if we lose, because we put everything out there, not because we let one guy drag us down. Like, I would rather lose as a team than lose. We put so much into a guy that wasn't giving us anything back. And that's the problem for me. But anyway, I digress.
One more thing. I am so sorry, guys. I know we want to move on. We got other things we could be talking about rather than piling on Julius Randle. But one more thing, because I forget, I got the old man brain. 46. I'm still moving, though. One more thing, okay? And now, even though this wasn't his man primarily to guard, because of how the Knicks were playing defense, this was Julius Randle's section. Outside of everything we just mentioned, then you let Chuma, Okiki, are you grinding? You let Okiki go off on us. You know what I mean? For 15 points. This guy averages 3 points a game. Mm-hmm. After you see him hit the first three, you're like, okay, he maybe got lucky. He don't shoot like that. When he hit the second three, that's when you say to yourself, okay, all right, I see you. I'm not going to let you have one of them crazy nights. He hit 5 threes, guys. And most of those threes were in Julius's section. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he was there for all 5 of them, but I saw him there for at least 3 of them.
Well, look, if we want to change the Julius Randle conversation, but still stay on the negative side of things, why don't we talk about, does anybody want to give me their input on Precious? Because I'm at a loss. I don't know.
Before we get to Precious.
Feels like not yet. Not yet. Look.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not a Randle thing. I want to shout out Ron for his little Drake pun right there. I don't know if anyone else caught it or if I'm the only one who was easily moved to laughter, but I was dying here. And I see everyone else with a straight face. I'm like, either no one else thinks he's funny or they all missed that.
No. I caught it. I caught it. Ron is definitely funny. I'm just looking at film right now from Julius Randle. If you guys remember when Orlando was up 90-89 when he was at the foul line where he missed both of his free throws with 2 minutes and 30 seconds. When they go back, right, and they're playing defense, Julius Randle is on the far side, and his man is the one who gets the offensive rebound. Not Julius Randle. He doesn't rotate with his guy when the shot goes up. And what happened? Pablo gets the ball, shoots that mid-range, and then they go up by 3 points.
Oh, yeah. It seriously
but Hector,
looked like
he was hurt.
Spider-Man webbed his feet. They webbed his feet, in the Spider-Man. We watched it yesterday with my kids. When you get your feet webbed, you can't move. That's the end of you for that game or that movie. And that was him. He had his feet webbed, and he just stood there oh, dang. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. It was horrible.
And Ron, I know who you're talking about when you said, you're a Randle hater. I know who you're talking about.
Okay, good. All right. So also shout out to New Knicks City and Squad. Salute to you. Appreciate you. And the Organic Fanatics podcast. Appreciate you guys always showing us love, man. Appreciate you guys. And smash that like button on your way in. Smash that like button on your way out. Appreciate you. Okay. Now to Hector's question.
Said no one said nothing about Precious.
We moved right along, Precious. We'll get to Precious.
Let's get to this question. Yeah, let's get to the question first. Go ahead, Ron.
So, okay. So to that question, would you trade Randle for Zion Williamson? No, I wouldn't. I don't know how you guys feel. Listen, I'm not getting rid of one issue to bring in another issue. I want to stay clear of guys named Zion. So that's just me. Is he a really good player? Yes. When he's healthy, fine. But even New Orleans, Zion, it's like that team is Zion's team, and maybe Brandon Ingram. Okay, maybe you could say it's shared between the two of them. They're not even doing things that I think are great over there. Like it's all like it's up and down with that team. I don't know what to. They're not really scaring anybody, in my opinion. Last year they were a team that was sneaking up on people, and I thought, okay, if Zion ever really gets healthy, they can do some things. But Zion has been healthy at different moments, and I don't necessarily see a big difference with them over there. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, and maybe Zion is balling out of control every night that he's out there. I don't see it. So I don't know how you guys feel about it. Phil, what's your thoughts on that possible trade?
You know, if you would have asked me before, I would have been down with it. But what I've noticed this season is, first, if you have someone who was supposed to be a generational player, who was your number one pick, if your team is willing to trade you for Julius Randle, you are not that promising of a player, in my opinion. Like, if they're willing to ship him off in a Julius Randle trade, then that says something about the player in itself. Second, I'm not trading a defensive liability in Julius Randle for a defensive liability in Zion Williamson, who's going to get a lot more money than Julius Randle is locked in for. So, bottom line, if you watch a Pelicans game, wowed by the things that Zion Williamson does offensively. But the same things we talk about where Julius Randle is just watching his defensive assignment go past him and shoot, Zion's doing the same exact thing. Zion is not putting a hand in the face of his, opponent. He is not doing anything that's going to make us a better team. He's going to be a 25-10 substitute for a 25-10 substitute. You're getting
he's not even he's not even that, Phil. He's not even a 25-10. He's a 22-6.
Exactly. So stat wise, you're not getting anything better. If he was an elite defender or was a player that you can guarantee was going to show effort all the time, cool. But this is an organization that has done everything they can to please this kid. And he has to say in interviews, I don't know, I just got to see if I find my motivation here. What do you mean? What? They've rolled out the red carpet for you and you've barely played for them and you still want more. Nah, don't bring that here. And I'm going to say this about Tibbs. Tibbs has enabled that in Julius Randle. I don't want to see a repeat of enabling it for another 22-6 player, because I feel like that's something that we would just be doing, is enabling one semi-star for enabling a superstar in Zion Williamson. I'm not for it.
I hear you. Well, let's do this. Let's go to John, Jigga, and then Hector. Since Hector brought up the question, he can close it out. And shout out to Alberto Ramos. I see you in the chat. Appreciate you for being here. He said Zion can be motivated if he's on a different team, especially New York. I mean, maybe you're right, but I just don't know how much motivation he has, knowing that they got rid of his homeboy. I mean, we got RJ up out of here. Now that's one less person he gets to hang around with. I don't know. I'm not saying that's all what it is, but I'm just, that also is a wake-up call. I mean, we had RJ, and RJ pretty much did a lot for us at certain times, and we still traded him. You know what I mean? Because he just, he wasn't taking that next step. So, Jigga?
Oh, all right. I thought John was going first. My bad.
No. My fault. Sorry.
Mine's real quick, John. I promise you. My answer is no. Now, listen, if I woke up tomorrow and someone said it was Julius and Zion, it was just a quick little swap, then okay, great, whatever. Only because I'm looking at, all right, 6 years younger, right? Different headache, more problems of the same problems, lack of defense. You might get, I think his last 2 or 3 games, he's giving you 30 points and absolutely nothing else. I think it was 0 rebounds, maybe 1 assist or something like that. So you're not getting any defense with him. But I'll be okay with the 6-year age difference, because at least he has time to grow into something, and maybe a change of scenery does that for him. But I'm not, beating the drum and saying, go get me Zion Williamson at all. Nope.
John?
Yeah. Listen, I'm on the same boat. I'm not feeling the Zion move anyway. I've always looked at Zion as a high potential, kid with high potential. But again, if he lacks motivation, to me, I'd rather you have motivation in a place where the stars aren't like so bright, right? You should be already doing it in a small market. You should be already making a home in a small market, similar to like Damian Lillard, who owned Portland. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that kind of bravado there, and you don't see it from him day in and day out. As a matter of fact, some people even believe that that's Ingram's team and not Zion's team. So for me, I'm not bringing a kid who's going to come in with so much baggage and so many questions around his game. I'm going to leave that to some other, front office and some other ownership. I don't want that in New York. We've had enough of that. I think it's time to move on from that. And if we move away from Randall, I want a guy who has the gear, who has the next level gear. Someone who can bring it, who can show out in the playoffs. Someone who can, you know what I mean. So I'm not giving away 20-10 or 25-10 for absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? Or someone who's plagued with injuries on top of that. At the very least, Randall plays at least 70 games a season. You know what I mean? He'll play the majority of the games. You ain't gonna get that from Zion. So yeah, it's a wash for me. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like that's not even a lateral move. My bad.
Right.
Yeah, no. I agree with all you guys when it comes to Zion from what we've seen so far. But when you look at it, and Knicks is nice, put it in the chat. It's the CAA connection, right? I think that's why a lot of people even bring it up to begin with. When you look at the CAA guys, the big time guys that have been rumored to be on the trading block, you got Joel Embiid, Paul George, Devin Booker, and Zion Williamson. Those are the top 4 CAA guys that are on the market or rumored to have been on the market at one point. And when you look at it, Philadelphia, they ain't trading Joel Embiid to the Knicks. They're not sending him up the highway 2 to 3 hours away to be a superstar in New York City. As much as we would love that to happen, that's not happening. Do you guys want to take a gamble on Paul George and his injury history? I'm not sure if Knicks fans want to take a gamble on Paul George and his injury history. Then you got Devin Booker. Maybe Devin Booker, just because he's younger, he's been on the court, he's a scorer, but that's another guy that lacks it on the defensive side of things. Offensively, he is totally gifted, but defensively, Devin Booker, he's not winning any Defensive Player of the Year awards no time soon. So, and then you got Zion Williamson. At least Zion is the youngest out of the four of them, 23 years old. And when you look at the money he's making right now, and Phil brought up money, he's making about $34 million next year. Julius Randle is going to get a contract. He's going to get an increase in salary. He's going to get a payday in the next couple of years. He's making about $28 million right now. Julius Randle is going to be looking to make the same amount of money Zion Williamson is making right now at the moment. So if I had to take a gamble, if they were going to move off of Julius Randle, I think Zion would be the cheapest out of the 4 of them, the more realistic out of the 4 of them, and have a higher upside, being the fact that he's 23 years old.
That's fair. I mean, that's true. That part is true. I just think it's like everybody's made such a good point about, it's like, what is he going to do differently than what you're getting from Randall? Is he maybe a more efficient scorer than Randall? Yes, probably is. Zion actually is a very efficient scorer. You just look at his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't play defense that well. All right. That's the similar thing to what we're already getting from Randall. He's undersized. He's not even as tall as Randall. And he can't make up for the 10 rebounds a game Randall was giving us up until the past month or so, because Randall's not even giving us 10 rebounds a game, if you notice that. So just throwing that out there. Just another thing to be mad at Randall about. I'm just sorry. But
pile it on, Ron. Pile it on.
I'm sorry. But no, but I'm just saying, like, those are the things that you got to think about whenever you're looking at a trade to make this team better. You got to look at, okay, is this person going to come in and at least give us what we were already getting? Because the point is to get better. It's not to really just stay status quo with a different body. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's the greatest move. If the Knicks decided to, say something happened, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to jinx it. But say we're 2 years from now and Randall's walking, or we're not signing Randall and Brunson's walking, then if Zion was in the mix, you bring him in because now your whole team is different. Now you can, kind of rebuild and go a different way, but we're not there. What were you going to say, Heck?
I was going to say dream scenario, right? And this is just dream scenario, out of the ballpark, conspiracy theory, but just listen to me right now. Dream scenario, the Knicks over the next couple of weeks trade for DeJounte Murray before the trade deadline, right? We go into the postseason with DeJounte Murray in the starting lineup with the squad that we already have, right? We're out of the postseason. We're in the offseason. Dream scenario is that the Philadelphia 76ers get eliminated in the first round. Joel Embiid wants out of Philadelphia. We could trade Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, DeJounte Murray, 4 to 5 first-round picks for Joel Embiid. Like I said, conspiracy dream scenario, but I don't think that's happening.
It would be great if it did, but yeah, that's a real long shot, but I like it. I like where you're going. Sounds nice.
Hector, that's almost as bad as me going down the rabbit hole looking for aliens in Miami, bro. I'm just saying, I'm just.
Well, let's do this. I want to get your thoughts on what the Knicks are going to be doing going forward, right? But before that, sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward, and I just got to do a quick recap, guys. And obviously, you're welcome if anything pops in your head, you want to chime in, by all means. But so, guys. SKF Weekly on Monday nights, we try to give you a little recap of the week because right now it's all doom and gloom. But the whole week wasn't bad, folks. It wasn't. So if you're just tuning in or if you've been here, the Knicks did have other games on the docket this past week. And it started with us versus the Portland Trailblazers in a game that some felt was a must win just because we needed to show that we can beat up on a bad team. And Portland is a bad team. I don't care what nobody says. They're not a good team. They're just not. They can play, up to their potential here and there, but they're just not really a good team right now. So the Knicks wound up playing the Portland Trailblazers, and we beat them 112-84. A nice, convincing victory, one to put in the books. Was never really in question. It was, basically wire to wire, if I'm not mistaken. Was there anything that you guys remember that stood out for you in that Portland game that, made you feel good?
Malcolm Brogdon looked miserable playing for Portland. That was that stuck out. Besides that, no, not really. I loved again seeing what Deuce could do with that second unit. It's always good seeing what Deuce McBride can do out there. But besides that, it was against Portland, another team under 500. We're phenomenal against the teams that are under 500. It's the teams that are over 500 that we have to start beating. When it comes to teams under 500 that are out of it, I don't got no worries about it. But it's the teams that are over 500 we seem to have a problem with.
Right. I will say this, though.
2 nights later, Ron, the Trailblazers almost set the record for the margin of losing a game, right? So, it was fun in the moment, but when you wake up the next day, you're like, it was the Trailblazers. You're just supposed to handle that, okay? Our high school local team is supposed to handle them, right? So,
Who brought this guy Jigga with real facts?
I don't know, man. He's a bit.
But
on my
funny enough, I will say this, guys. I know it may not seem I know nobody's even thinking about this, right? Because it's also the level of competition. When we talk about this, we usually talk about when the Knicks play up against an incredible team and they play this way. But if you really think about it, this game against the Portland Trailblazers was the best game the Knicks played all season, right? Because we scored 128 points. We had 7 guys in double figures. We shot 48% from the field. We shot 43.9% from 3. We shot 96% from the free throw line, 24 of 25. We had 49 rebounds and 27 assists. That is really our best game that we've played to date. Just wanted to throw that out there. So,
that's a good one.
That's it, man. Don't think about it anymore. It was a laugher. It is what it is. But then,
This is the thing. The fact that the fact that we are celebrating what we've done against the Portland Trailblazers just shows how miserable we are this week, okay? Because the fact that we have to go back to that to have any joy. This team is second to last in the West. Like, their claim to fame is a player that we like who really doesn't want to be there in Jeremy Grant. Like, he wants the hell out of there ever since Dame got out of there. And they're just not a good team in any way, shape, or form. So just one of those things where it's like, it reminds me of that scene in Billy Madison where the big brother, like O'Doyle rules, like hits, Billy, and then it's like, O'Doyle rules. It's like, all right, you're a big for nothing and you're picking on someone that doesn't matter. That was the Knicks right there. And
the
we
Knicks
got
with
the
the
pride. Yeah, we're O'Doyles, and we're like, O'Doyle rules, Knicks rule. And then we go and we play against freaking a depleted team the other day, and we freaking have a struggle with no-name players, and then we lose to the Magic again today on a game that, if you're a Magic fan, you're able to honestly say without lying that this is one of the worst efforts the Orlando Magic have had in a long time, and yet they still beat us, So for me, I'm just go off that cliff right now, and I'm just like, we got to do something. Something.
Well, here's the thing, Phil. And you brought up those other games, but sandwiched in between those games was another game that was a tough one for us. That's right. We went to Texas, folks. The Knicks played the Dallas Mavericks. You know what I mean? This is Jalen Brunson's return to his original team after 4 years, and Dallas is the home of Julius Randle. The Knicks lost 128-124 versus Dallas, guys, and that kind of left the bad taste in a lot of people's mouths there.
You can't get mad when you're playing against Luka Doncic. You can't get mad when you're playing against Luka Doncic. Oh, wait. Luka wasn't there.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Kyrie, though. Dropped the 40 piece on us. Yeah, man. Yeah, I thought you said it was going to be good, Ryan. This is kind of depression.
He fooled all of us. We're like, what the hell? Where's the good news, damn it?
Hey, but check this out. Check this out. I know we was talking about Portland, right? But check this out. If we do that hypothetical trade, right, if Philadelphia loses in the first round, after that trade to get Mr. Joel Embiid, hypothetically, we could call up Portland. We pick up Evan Fournier's contract. We send Evan Fournier 2 first-round picks for Jeremy Grant. Come on now. Sip on the Kool-Aid.
Were you playing NBA 2K before we got on the stream today?
I was. I definitely was.
You already got that roster on the lineup.
I just wrote down his roster moves.
Let me hide my PlayStation controller. I'm sorry. I gotta hide the PlayStation controller. I'm sorry.
All right. Now we gotta watch Hector when it comes to these trades. Now we know 2K is on the brain. Yeah, man. I mean, this game was a tough one. And John, so I don't know if you heard about this. So I'm gonna get your opinion about this real quick. Obviously, the Knicks lost to the Mavericks. Did you watch the game?
I did watch the game. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. So Julius is coming. Julius is, coming home. I'm coming home. Julius was coming home, right? Jalen was over there overwhelmed, talking about how he has love for everybody. It looked like he was a little out of sorts to begin the game. I don't know. Maybe he was a little overwhelmed. Whatever. I don't know if you saw, and I brought it up a couple times already, but the stuff that was going around Kyrie Irving saying how much he loves to beat the Knicks. This was before the Dallas game.
Oh, yeah.
He loves to beat the Knicks, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said it's easy.
Tell me.
Easy work.
Yeah. So, okay. You know what I'm saying? That's still Knicks fans. So what I'm saying is, you mean to tell me that the Knicks know that Kyrie loves beating on them, embarrassing them, all this good stuff. You going up against Dallas. There's no Luka Doncic. And you allow Kyrie not only to beat you, but drop 44 and 10 on your head. This is why it's tough to be a Knicks fan, because I get so frustrated with stuff that makes no sense to me.
Not only does he drop
make it
the
make
40
sense,
piece,
bro.
Not only does he drop the 40 piece, but like going into it, you know that was the soundbite, right? Going into it, you know Tibbs is strategizing against having him score a 40-piece, yet you still allow it. You still allow it. Like it was like they didn't double team Tibbs. I don't know what you were thinking. There was no double team.
5 minutes we finally saw double
That's
team.
when he decides to. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
5 minutes in the fourth.
It's like, so that's the guy who's able to transition mid game to a game plan that makes sense for it. It's just that this is what tells me that the future is going to be bleak if we stick with Tibbs in our future. So I'm gonna move off of Randall and I'm gonna go on Tibbs because we ain't getting nowhere. We ain't getting to the promised land with Tibbs. He got us to where he needs to get us. We're in a better place. It's time to move on. Let him play out the season. Let him play out his contract, and let's move on, man. I'm tired of waiting for a play to be done in game. You know the playoffs. We're gonna see the same thing, same run. It's gonna be same as usual. So it doesn't matter who we bring in. I personally think we need to go and get another scorer just to help our odds. But I don't think in a pressure situation, Tibbs is the guy who's going to get us over the hump. He just isn't that kind of coach.
John don't like bald people. That's what it is.
Facts. I hate myself sometimes.
It was a tough one, and the bad thing too is we got to see, like, you can't even, like, in that game you can't destroy Randall for how he played. You can't destroy Brunson for how he played. Could they have played better, both of them? Yeah, but they both had 30 points apiece. Like, they gave us effort. They did stuff that we could have used to win the game. It just wasn't enough. And goes back to the point, this was the game where we did not have the effort in the first quarter, which is for the whole team. The whole team sucked in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. They just came out. They looked like they thought the game was in the bag and they wasn't going to have to do much to win. And they were, very mistaken. So Tibbs did mess up by not instituting that double team earlier and getting the ball out of the hands of the guy who was, tearing us apart. Because that's another thing. That's how bad it was. You're going to tell me, okay, we couldn't really stop the guy because he lit us up. He was on fire. He had 44. Yeah, but he had 10 assists too. So he was carving us up. He was getting good opportunities for everybody. You cannot get the ball out of his hands. That's what you got to do.
But you know what, Ron? That whole game, though, it's like you literally can go back to it and just put a stamp on it that said defense was optional. Because that's what it was the whole night for us. Like, it literally was like, no one decided. They all were like, you know what, tonight, let's take the night off. Screw it. No defense. Because, again, if Tibbs, your coach, isn't telling you go double team this guy, then nobody's talking defense, right? And that's what you saw that entire game. Us as fans, we all know, hey, pay attention to this guy. Luka's not here. Watch this guy right here. And yet all night we all watched and put the performance. And you have to, at the end of the day, it sucks as Knicks fans because we have to sit there and be like, yo, give him his flowers. The dude performs. He knows how to ball. And we let him run all over us, man. Depressing. But I just want to touch on what you were saying, John, when it comes to Tibbs. Do you think, let's say, going back to the whole, if they trade Julius Randle, we see what this team looks like when we got OG, which is a total cardboard cutout of what a Tibbs player is. Is there a Tibbs player that would replace Julius that then you would be comfortable saying, you know what, Tibbs can take us to that next level because now we got everybody that is that cardboard image?
And not for me. I just don't think that, like, you're going to get the same style of play that we already see, and Julius is going to give you the effort that he gives you day in and day out. There are some moments, like we've seen that he hasn't been able to, show up. But I think for the most part, you're going to get that 20 and 10 guy, right? He's going to give you that average at the very least. But Tibbs in itself, he just isn't a guy who's, in my opinion, going to give you adjustments mid-game in order to get you over the hump, especially in the playoffs. He's just not that guy. We've seen it last year. We've seen it a couple of years in a row. It's time to move on from that guy. That's just my opinion.
And I was really asking because, I know you guys see the timeline too. Once the RJ Julius thing is over, now it's one of them has to go, Tibbs or Julius, right? And we were talking about Julius, but then you brought up Tibbs. I'm like, maybe people are onto something, right? If you're going to pick one or the other. I know Phil's ready.
Yeah, I don't think it's a one or the other. I think the problem here is, like, you replace Randle, okay, whatever. Tibbs is still Tibbs, and this is my problem. We keep on saying this like, oh, geez, a cardboard cutout of a Tibbs type player. I can't say that I buy into this Tibbs type player when Julius Randle has been here season with lack of accountability, when he does not fit the cardboard cutout of a Julius Randle. I mean, of a Coach Tibbs player. If we're saying a Tibbs player is someone that is defensive minded, that plays a full game of basketball from start to finish and leaves everything out there, and then we say that Julius Randle, Tibbs is like guy, that's an oxymoron in my opinion. That's Kontroversy. You can't say that Tibbs's cardboard cutout perfect player is an OG or McBride play full-on defense and they play full-on effort, and then our number two be a guy who does not play defense and does not put on full-on effort. So for me, there's always that loop in that like truth that is not a real statement. Like that is not a real thing if he can compromise in certain areas. So I think it would be a miracle for a coach to come in after Randle has been given this like golden spoon, and it would take a miracle for that coach to break the bad habits that have already been instilled in Julius Randle in a New York Knicks uniform. And so that's my problem there. And with Tibbs, regardless of whether you get another guy in Julius Randle's position, if Tibbs does not become an in-game coach, it does not matter how many people are the warrior cardboard cutout for him, because in a game, things change. And if you don't change in the game, your cardboard cutout can only do so much. That's why you see coaches like Spoelstra, they have a game plan, but they can change as soon as your team changes. They do what they can to match that. And that's going to be something that sets you apart to that next position. I don't know if Tibbs has that in him.
And you know, that's actually a good point when it comes to what a Tibbs type player is. But you know, I think what's made it a dilemma, Phil, and what is one of those things that drives me crazy with Tibbs is I think we look at Tibbs and we say, how has he changed over the years? And I think how he's changed is he lets some of these players get away with what they like to do, because I think that's how he relates to them. That's how he gets them intertwined in what he's doing these. And I'm talking about this Tibbs, not the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose Tibbs. That guy would take you, you know, right out the game, and you'd be sitting there sulking, and you'd have to earn your way back in there. I don't care who you are. But this Tibbs, who has gotten the bad rap from the league and the players for running players into the ground, this is the type of stuff that this Tibbs does, and he doesn't show the accountability. And I'm like, he's like an oxymoron of himself, because he's supposed to be this disciplinarian who runs players and who has hard practices, some of the hardest practices in the league. Mm-hmm. And yet he lets guys loaf it up and down on defense. He lets guys go nut 1-on-3. He lets guys stat pad in the fourth quarter of games. Like, he does all these things. Like, what? This is a disciplinarian coach? This ain't a Tom Coughlin type coach. He would, you know what I mean? But whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to say about Tibbs. He's a wild one.
I would like to say I blame Ron that we went down this road. Okay, it's all Ron's fault that we ended up here. Okay, we had a good week, guys.
My fault. Sorry. All right, we got one last game to cover on the docket. Which, if you guys remember, we played that team called the Memphis Grizzlies. Right? You know what I'm talking about. Memphis. That's right. Our Knicks going up against Steven Adams, Desmond Bane, Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. We had to go up against one of the oh wait, none of those guys played, and we still struggled to beat Memphis until the very end of this game. A bunch of nobodies. And see, it's funny, like when Ja was talking about Orlando tonight, the guys, at least I know these guys. Those Memphis dudes, I didn't know who those dudes were. I can't do this show. Frustrated.
Ron, Phil this morning on the Morning Brew, he said, let me name a couple players for you. And he's naming them. And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, nope, that's two different rosters. That's not even who he played. I was like, damn, I really had no idea who the people we were up against. But that G League team literally put us to wire to wire. Like, we literally were having to battle them out all freaking game. That's when I knew things were going to be a little tough tonight too.
I mean, we wound up winning 106-94, but still, like, just that game, that should have been a laugher. One of those, you talk about what happened with the Portland Trailblazers and losing by 70. That we should have beat this team by 40 or something. Crazy numbers, just whatever. It's just this is part of those things, like, when you want to look at one game and say it's not the end of the world. There's no need to panic, and it's true. It's no need to panic. But if you just kind of go down the line of these last games that we've had, just look at different things that have happened in each game, and you start to say, you know what? If you really look at this team's got some issues that they need to clean up, or we are going to get bounced out. We're going to be lucky. We'll make the playoffs, but we'll be lucky if we go anywhere in the playoffs playing like this, because this is just not how you get things done. They got too many little things this is little stuff that you need to clean up to play good basketball. Shout out to the chat once again. Thank you for being here and rocking with us. Smash that like button. You see it. The Morning Brew Sports crew is here. Minus Jerry, who is not in the building, but he's here with us in spirit. So is Eddie Presti, man. Shout out to everybody, man.
Yes, sir.
Glamour Knicks is in the building. Appreciate you. To Die For. Paris Doug is in the building. Appreciate all y'all. You were gonna say something.
Here's the thing about that game. That Memphis game, to me, I don't care what the final outcome was. Loss. That was a loss. The fact that your bench players are injured, and these are the guys that now you're playing that wouldn't see any minutes unless their team was up 40. And the fact that they are competing with us through 3 quarters of basketball was really disheartening to watch. And the fact that Miles McBride has a 19-point career high game and we're still struggling against the G League team shows that we have things that need to get fixed. I brought it up after the game, and everyone's like, you're jumping out the building over one game just because Jalen Brunson's gone. It was one game. Like, you're going to think that we need to, like, figure out, something to have a backup plan. We're fine. We're fine. Like, it's not going to just be one game if that was who we were competing against. Like, it's going to happen against good teams if that's what's happening against backup teams. And then we saw it again tonight. So the fact that game showed our lack of efficiency, of having an actual facilitator when Jalen Brunson is gone, is an issue. We had 22 turnovers in that game. We had 3 less turnovers than assists. Like, it doesn't matter how many assists you have. If you have a turnover to go with it, that just cancels it out completely. Like, that's an easy bucket for these teams. And so for me, that game said a lot, and it showed that we need to be finding someone, because as Jalen Brunson is, he's been taking a lot on his body, and he takes those fouls and he plays hard, but he's been injured this season. He's been throughout his whole career. We need to be looking at that. We need to pay attention to that. We do not have someone that can actually facilitate if he goes down. And that's a problem. Like, if Jalen Brunson gets seriously injured, and someone put it in there that medically calf injuries and ACL injuries are in a very close family of one another. So we need to be making sure that we're not going to put all this pressure on this guy to come in and start playing 40 minutes after this injury. We need someone else that can facilitate and score. And if not, if he gets hurt for the season, we're done. Like, we are screwed.
Yep. On a high note, though, wasn't that the game where iHeart gave us them 20 rebounds too, looking like a stud? Was that one?
That it was.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, there's deficiencies that take away from the highlights that we should be really, being able to celebrate. Like Deuce going off for 19. Hartenstein being a freaking blockness monster all of a sudden, and these 20 rebounds, But instead, we have to sit here and look at it like, and I just saw Paris Duggar in the chat said that same Grizzlies squad just beat Steph Curry and them tonight. Right? So it's like this little Cinderella story thing going on. But even still, I mean, I hear exactly where you're coming from, Phil, because it's unfortunate that we have to sit there against a team like that. Yeah.
The Warriors been struggling. And as much as I like the fact that Isaiah Hartenstein had 20 rebounds, we can't ignore the fact that he was playing against Xavier, who averages 4.5 rebounds a game. Like, he wasn't playing their actual center or their power forwards. He was playing their backup of a backup. And so, yes, he's going to get 20 rebounds against a guy who averages 4.8. And that was their starting lineup guy. Their backup guy, who he also had some minutes against because he played a ton of minutes that game, has less than 4.8 rebounds per game. So I would hope that would be a silver lining, is that he can get those kind of rebounds in that kind of game. But yes, they beat the Golden State Warriors, but the Golden State Warriors have been a little bit of a dumpster fire themselves.
I was going to say that. Thank you, Phil. I was going to say that the Golden State Warriors have their own set of really bad issues over there. They did beat them tonight, and they had 7 guys in double figures over there in Memphis. And all those same guys.
But
whatever.
No, that Jaren Jackson played today. So there was one of their studs played today. So it's already better. He had 18 today.
Yeah, it's already better. That's
33 minutes.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Jaren Jackson was back. Okay, cool.
No comparison.
Yeah.
It's a lot different when you have a key player on their squad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that Golden State is in trouble. But whatever.
Yeah, because they're not even over 500 right now, right?
Yeah, they're struggling, man. They're struggling.
Yeah, they're struggling, and they may just blow it up again. You know what I mean? I think if anything, Golden State will just stick with Steph and then maybe Kuminga and then move on from all the rest of them, because at this point, why the veterans are Father Time is catching up to the Golden State Warriors. That's just really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the only valuable asset they have there is keeping Steph for the remainder of his tenure. He should be him and Klay Thompson should be the ones who sort of, retire as Golden State Warriors. But Thompson thinks he still can play at the high level, so he may have to go.
Yeah.
So also a real quick shout out to the chat once again. On Dios in NYK is in the building. Salute. Hey, Craig is in the building. Salute. What's good, Craig? No Cap, Life's Analyst is in the building. And he said, also To Die For is in the building. Salute. He said, No Cap, that is, said, bottom line, we don't have an offensive system. I will say we do have an offensive system. We might not have enough offensive players to carry out that system, but he said this team needs multiple playmakers to halfway make up for our lack of a system. Now, that's interesting. I see what you're doing there. That's why I don't downplay players, playmaker players like Donovan Mitchell and Cat. Well, look, you know what? This Knicks team plays enough defense that they can be in any game and hang with teams. But really, maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. Sometimes we look at how is this going to affect the chemistry, these undersized guys. Maybe we just need guys who can just light it up. Maybe if we got that extra guy, a Donovan Mitchell or the DeJounte Murray, we're not talking the way we're talking about these Knicks. Maybe we're not looking at Julius and talking about how he doesn't step up, because we got these other guys who will step up. So I don't know. Maybe the Knicks need to figure out, maybe that's the best way to go about it. Because this is telling, man. Because that's why I wanted the Knicks to have a little time, to look at the team and see how they play. We got OG, okay. Let's see how they look together. All right, they won 5 in a row. All right, now you put Deuce in a situation where you asking him to do more. Let's see how Deuce is playing before we say, oh, Deuce can't do this. And I'm not saying Deuce is the answer. I'm saying Deuce can be on the team. You know what I mean? So, but this is good to know, and I think the Knicks need to learn from this. We've still got a little time before the trade deadline, so if they want to go at it, if they want to really supplant this team and make a nice run in the playoffs, because this window is really short. It's one thing to wait till the offseason and see what might materialize, but all you're doing is taking more time away from this window. This window is until Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle opt out. And after that, who knows what's going to happen? So, I don't know. What do you guys think, Phil? What's your thoughts on that? You think that this is a situation, and then get over to Hector and then Jigan and John.
Let me just say one thing real quick, because I don't know about you guys, but I played ball growing up, right? But playing ball, didn't you remember back in the day where it was like it was frowned upon to jump in the air and pass the ball? You remember that, Ron?
Oh yeah,
like
that
you
was
were
the first
never allowed to do that.
Taught.
That's number one rule. That's all our Knicks players keep doing, from Hart to Julius to like what's up with that? Like, what is going on with ball today? Like, why is that even allowed? Why is Tibbs allowing that? Like, that's just a pet peeve of mine. I keep seeing it, and I understand you can make the same pass without jumping in the air. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, I don't know. I just wanted to
John, listen, why'd you have to do that, bro? I hate this because everybody's gonna be like, all you guys do is hate the Knicks. All you doing is talking negative. Well, look, if this is gonna be the negative show, then let me get all the negative stuff out. I'll get back to cleansing myself later. If we're gonna talk about everything, another thing that should be talked about is the passing of this Knicks team. The passing outside of the jump passing, there's a very lackadaisical. We're throwing. You've been taught to throw chest
not
passes.
crisp.
These guys are lofting the ball. You know, first off, I don't like OG Anunoby as an inbounder right now. I'm not saying he can't get better, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing. He's throwing a lot of Kenny Loftons over there. I don't like it. So I think there's certain things. And the other thing about OG is his handle ain't that great. Okay, I'm sorry. He dribbles the ball too high. He can get picked off a lot. And guys are just picking his pocket. I don't like it. Just saying. I still like the guy. I want him to be here, but there's certain things I'm noticing. Okay.
So
all right, my fault.
To John's point, I remember that clear as day. I remember playing intramural basketball for a Catholic school in the Bronx and being told you never leave your feet without something planned. Like, you never leave your feet unless you're trying to score or you're trying to get past somebody. But that is not what the Knicks do at all. Like, it is, and it's frustrating when it's guys who don't really have the greatest passing even when they're on their feet. So now you're going to make it even more difficult by ballerina spinning and hoping that someone, by the time you got up to before you land, someone got open in that time. I don't understand. Like, I understand the driving to the hoop and then mid-air of going to score, realizing that there's something better and facilitating it. But jumping in the middle or at the three-point line to then pass it off doesn't make any sense to me. And our passing in general, even though we're doing it more, in these last few games have been concerning. Like, you saw in one play, Isaiah Hartenstein turn it over, us somehow get it back, Dante DiVincenzo in that same play turn it over, and it's because we're like popping it up like hot potato. Like, we're trying to get it out of our hands as quick as possible instead of actually getting something that's going to get over to you. So when you guys are talking about, like, you know, what Ron was talking about, like not having a system and finding players that can work around, you know, like not having a system and still producing, that's unfortunately our only option. Like, the system comes from the coach. The system comes from a coach. If someone's not providing that, we either just go without a system and just pass and jump in the air and hope that we find somebody, or we need players that can play outside of a system. Like, that's when you saw us actually starting to succeed. OG trade is, I thought it was actually better for us in those first few games before OG started learning the system. Because you heard Jalen Brunson say in that first game, OG came up to me and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to just keep cutting. And Jalen was like, and I was able to keep finding him. So he was working outside of Thibodeau's offensive system, and it was causing buckets. And now he's playing within the system, and you see him doing a very Obi Toppin type role for most of the game, standing in the corner. And when he actually takes it on himself to cut, that's when he's getting his buckets. And so, like, I think the system is flawed. I think we have no system. I think we have such an amateur system offensively that we're not going to be able to beat actual teams who know how to play defense or who know how to have a better offensive system that produces more. Because a very amateur system that ends up defaulting to Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle being an ISO at the end of it is a system that can only get us so far. And that's the problem. Like, we pass the ball, but we pass the ball to get it back into the hands of an ISO player. Like, we don't pass the ball to find something that's a better shot within the paint or a pick and roll system. Like, it's a very pass the ball until our main guys are open again so that they can ISO it. That's a horrible system. And so we need a player that can override.
And I think you're right in that, Phil. And rather than having everybody chime in on the same thing when Phil just basically blew that whole thing out of the water with his take. I mean, really. Right. Shout out to the chat once again. No, I'm just saying, like, I mean,
yeah, word.
Flag on the play, B. Cut it out, Phil. You know what I mean?
I gotta go.
D'Angelo, shout out. Yeah, shout out to you, D'Angelo. He said this team can't afford to get injured, Brunson or Randall, because we don't have that guy. That's a fair point. And shout out also to Glamour Knicks, who said solid defense is crucial, but securing that extra line of offense is the key to winning games. It is not just about stopping opponents. Scoring is equally critical. And I think that's one of those things that I'm talking about, man. As Knicks fans, we want to get back to that defensive identity. It started to lack for a bit, but I think we've done enough to address it on the surface. OG makes a really big difference and allows us to still be one of the top defensive teams in the league. But maybe in an offensive league, we need more offense. I'm just saying, because if you look around the league at a lot of these other teams, they've got offensive players, guys who can get buckets. They're comfortable. We got guys, and no offense to some of our guys, but you don't trust all of these guys. What Deuce is doing right now, if he can keep it up, great. But do you trust it when the ball rotates and you see Josh Hart with the ball? I mean, you don't. You just don't. Like it's.
But also, it takes him way too many dribbles to get somewhere. That's the other thing, right? People are not. True. I can't discount what he's done. I cannot discount what he's done. But as a point guard in this league, at the highest level, you can't have 4 to 5 dribbles to get to the lane. You can't do it. It takes 1 or 2 drives or moves to get past somebody. You can't keep bringing it back halfway ass like he does. He sort of like, it's like a stop and go, but then he brings them back to you. That's exactly what I tell my son not to do. You don't bring your defensive player back to you. You don't do that. You make a move and you go. Whether they stop you at the rim or you don't, at the very least, you hope that someone's cutting in your direction so you can find them. You don't bring somebody back into the pick and roll action when you don't get past them with the first move. Like, you just don't do it.
Right. That's
the lack of that's what I understand. Like, you could score 19 and that's great, but there's certain levels to this game that Deuce isn't there yet. He just isn't there yet. Mm-hmm. At least for me, he isn't.
That's where
and he still hasn't shown
coaching. That's where you got to blame. Right. You can't run the same offense that Jalen Brunson, years in of experience, and then give Miles McBride the ball and say we're doing the exact same thing. Look at a lot of other teams where it's guys that aren't like ISO point guards. You will see picks where not only the center is doing a pick, but you have the power forward also doing a pick or a small forward, so that player is getting 2 people blocking his man to give him that flexibility to get in. McBride, as amateur as he is of a starting point guard, we should be doing things differently than we do with Jalen Brunson. And that's the problem. We don't. It's the same copy-paste situation, and it's just ridiculous. So, bottom line, Carmelo said, as great a defense as it is, he recently said it, this is a game about buckets. We need someone that's going to get us buckets.
And if we need a point guard that's going to spell Jalen Brunson. Once again, this is not me taking shots at Deuce. I like Miles McBride. I think he's I think eventually he's going to be a really good role player in this league, and I expect him to have a really nice career. But the bottom line is, right now, the dude still struggles at getting past his defender to get to the rim. Tonight's game, he got to the rim maybe 2 or 3 times. But if you look at how he did it off of a screen, so he cut immediately. He did it off of a loose ball that was picked up off of a steal, and he cut around and ran straight to the basket. But when he has the ball stationary in a half-court offense, he has to break down the guy with his dribble. He can't do it. He doesn't get past anybody. And you need somebody who can get past their – I always say it. I hate hate it. I feel like an old man. I feel like now I remember my PE coach telling me, dribble, drive, and dish. What do you mean? I just want to shoot. Now I get it, coach. This is what I'm talking about. Dribble, drive, and dish. We need that coming off our bench. We don't have it, and that's something we still are looking for. To get over to Hector, because I realized I forgot we didn't talk about this guy, and now is the perfect time to talk about when I'm talking about how we need offense, or at least a semblance of good players. We might have gotten one guy that's a little wah, okay? Precious Achiuwa, I'm sorry. He might be a wah. All right. He was in the trade. He might not be. I mean, the guys, I don't know. He can rebound a little bit. That offensive game was suspect. His hands, he got the Nerlens Noel hands. That it's tough right now. But what's your thoughts on Precious Achiuwa?
One thing real quick when it comes to Deuce. Deuce is he's as a starter, he ain't a starter yet in the NBA. He's not ready to be a starter in the NBA. As a backup point guard, I think he can handle it and learn on the job. When you look at today's game, we don't blame today's loss on Deuce McBride. We blame today's loss on Julius Randle. If Julius Randle is just 50% of what Julius Randle has been this season, we win that game. But because Julius Randle underperformed, even under 50% of what he normally does, we lose the game. Now, when it comes to Precious, he's a backup power forward. He's not a backup center, right? So when it comes to that, I maybe the front office has to address that. He gives you the effort defensively, but when it comes to his offensively, whatever he gives you is just a plus. He's just out there to be a body and a defender as a backup power forward. And I'm going to keep on emphasizing this. He is a backup power forward, not a backup center. I know there's rumblings about Mitchell Robinson potentially coming back. Until then, I think this front office, they have to address the backup center. Maybe there's a veteran out there that we can get that's on another team, second string, third string, that maybe we could bring in so he could be a backup center until Mitchell Robinson come back. I think that would kind of be a small little minor move that the front office makes at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline. But when it comes to pressure, whatever he gives you offensively is just a bonus. He's just out there to be a body, to just be a defender.
Right. I want to get over to Jigga and then John real quick, but I just wanted to say to Parrish Doug in the chat, he was saying, what are y'all talking about? Deuce played well enough for the win. It's not his fault. The 100 million was, I guess 100 million.
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
But remember,
Parrish just that's start the show over.
That's not what.
You'll see
that's not what anybody was saying, Deuce. Deuce Parrish. When we talking about Deuce, I'm talking about Deuce's limitations going forward and why you need more. No one's saying what Deuce has been playing great. I love what Deuce. I'm really excited for this opportunity to see Deuce.
Efforts. Absolutely.
Exactly. If anything, you heard me say Deuce is playing well enough so that you know that he belongs here. That doesn't mean he should be the guy, though. Should he be the main backup point guard for this team? I don't know that. Should he be the guy to step in and spell Jalen Brunson if Jalen Brunson has to sit a game and somebody has to start? I don't know if that's Deuce. I don't think he's that guy right now. But he should be on the team is what I'm saying. He plays well enough that he should be a part of the rotation, in my opinion. But that's not to take away. This loss was definitely not because of Deuce.
Don't get what I was saying about his limitations, anything wrong. I think he still has enough talent to spell Jalen Brunson minutes. I think he should be afforded that. What I'm saying is that we still need more. We need someone to come off the bench because you got Dante DiVincenzo doing a hell of a job filling in the starting position. Mm-hmm. Now we lack that from the scoring perspective. We don't have a guy who go get it. You know what I mean? Without having to go through ball screens. We need a playmaker. We don't have that on the bench anymore because DiVincenzo was that guy sort of, you know what I mean, who can get his own bucket. But now we ain't got that because Hart doesn't get his own bucket. You know what I mean? We ain't got somebody who could do it on the bench with ease. And that's what we need. Somebody who, even if they start, they could come in and play with the bench to get their bucket. Because we can't keep running, Jalen Brunson with the bench and with the starters. Like, that's too much. Can't do that.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna wear these guys down. We talking now because it looks good, because it's early when they're doing it. And now maybe it's not even looking good. Maybe it's already catching up to them. Who knows? But this is not the way you want to carry it. This is the type of thing you see from Tibbs. This is the bad part of Tibbs. This is when he overuses his players. We don't want to see that. We want to have a little bit more flexibility out there. Jigga, our next game is going to be against the Houston Rockets. And I got to tell you, them Houston Rockets, they're a much better team this year than they were last year. And they're not, you don't know what's going to happen with Jalen Brunson right now. I'm actually concerned. If Jalen Brunson doesn't play, I don't know if we can beat the Rockets. Even if Jalen Brunson does play, if the Knicks don't chill with some of these bad habits they've picked up over these past couple games, 22 turnovers the other day, stuff like that. Like, I don't know, bro. What's your thoughts on this next game against Houston?
I'm going to go back to the very first thing I said when we started the show. I will not be surprised if Julius did hurt his ankle, like, it looked like in the game or whatever, right? A little limpage, whatever. I will not be surprised. And I'm not going to say I want to see it because honestly, I do. I wouldn't mind seeing Julius off for the next 2 games, Brunson back playing, and let's see how this team is rolling without Julius there. Then we can start looking and really putting a honed-in focus on the minor move we need to make to help that second unit and get the shooting, whatever. I think it would be a benefit to us to let Julius sit down for the next 2 games. And I want to say, even without Julius there, if we were running it, it would be a close game. I really do think we'd be able to hold our own. I think the ball would move better, and I want to see what it looked like without Julius. So, again, I know we're 2 days out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Julius sit in this next one, and hopefully Jalen's back.
Yeah. That's
and real quick, Ron, Precious. I just want to say on Precious, it's just he's so soft, bro. Like, he's so soft. Like, you see these videos, he's wearing the Yankees hat, and you're like, oh, we got a guy from the Bronx. And then he gets the ball, and like, like, when he goes up with it, just so soft. So I need him, if he's going to be our backup power forward and try to do something, man, at least go out there with a little bit of bite, a little bit of dog, and you just, it's just a little too soft for me, bro.
You better.
I don't know what
keep
it
that
is.
Same energy when he finds your ass in the city. That's all I'm gonna say. Keep that same energy when he sees you.
It's all right. Well, I'm walking you with me, so we good. I got you. I'm like,
no, I ain't with you. I ain't with you. I'm not with you.
You're gonna be like, Precious. My name is Hector. Those comments were
no way.
Switch. Jose, can you switch the names real quick? Jose.
Right. I don't know what's up with Precious because I shout out to the Toronto Raptors fans because sometimes you hear something from a Raptors fans, you like they just hating because we got them. But there's some Raptors fans that said, listen, you're gonna see the real Precious. But I'm like, okay, all right. I don't know, but the Precious that I remember. Because the Precious that I've seen in a couple games with Toronto, he got busy, right? And then the Precious that I remember, granted it was a while ago, the Precious I remember from the Olympics with that Nigerian team, he got busy and he was super aggressive. So I don't know what's going on with Precious right now. Maybe he's also
he got introduced to all the wine vineyards and the wine. He went bougie, bro. We got bougie Precious. I don't know. That's what happened.
John knows.
I think what's going on, I think it's, again, we keep talking about system. I think the system is the biggest threat to Precious's game. I just think that he's the type of player that needs to slash to the basket. He should be put in pick and rolls for alley-oops. He's one of those guys who can, get to the rim if you give him a head start. He's not a guy who's going to plant himself there and battle against centers or battle against power forwards trying to out-rebound them, and he's a different type of player than what most would consider historically known as a power forward, a guy who with the back to the basket. He's not that kind of player. So that's the difference. You got a coached team where he's relegated to play the center position right now because we have no backup center, and then he's spelling minutes alongside OG and Anunoby, and he's playing the center position, or he's swapping out and playing, I don't think he's ever played with Hartenstein, to be honest with you. So he's really not playing the power forward position in any sense, So again, it's just what he's relegated to do with this Tibbs Rand defense and offense. It's just not his game. So, and again, he's a guy who could shoot the three. He doesn't shoot it at a high volume. So there's not really much there either. So I just think it's just a situation for Precious.
I think you got to look at context. You got to look at context with Precious. Like, he is a guy that came from a Raptors team that when he was thriving with, the only small guy in that Raptors starting lineup was Fred VanVleet. Everyone else was Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. Like, everyone was a bigger guy. So he was able to play that power forward spot, but he was also able to be a guy that cut a lot, and he was looked for a lot in the back cuts. And so we have him playing a position with a bunch of like 6'2" to 6'4" guys and expect him to just fall into that role. Like, that's not him. Like, if he was able to play that power forward slot and able to do what he does best, which is catch rebounds as they come off the rim instead of being directly under the hoop, that's what he did with Toronto. That's where he thrived, being that second rebounder, being that second big guy that can cut while the other big held down the point in the paint. And it was Pascal Siakam, who's another scorer, so they couldn't lay off of him. Like, even if Mitch comes back, he doesn't have an offensive game. So it's still different because they're not going to worry about Mitch scoring offensively like they did with Pascal Siakam. So they were focusing on Pascal as soon as they even thought about doing a double. That's when Precious Achiuwa was cutting that baseline and always being found by either Siakam or VanVleet for that dunk. So I think it's us throwing him into a system kind of like we did with Obi and kind of like we did with Grimes last year in the starting lineup, where it was, hey, even though this is not your game, this is your role. Do well at it, you know? And so that's a problem. And speaking of VanVleet, with your question about the game, VanVleet is always someone that cooks us. Always. Like, every that time. Is someone that cook us. And so with Van being, you know, with this Houston team and them also having an elite defender in Dylan Brooks, this is not a team we could take lightly. And if effort is going to, and getting tired is going to be an issue, these young guys, they can go all 40-plus minutes nonstop back and forth on both ends of the court. Even if they're not the best players on the court, they're the ones that are nonstop back and forth effort on that court. So we can't take the and I hope that Jalen Brunson is back, because if we go down 3 and 2 of these are against teams that we should have definitely beat, it's not going to be the pretty trip that we thought. We thought we were going into the easy part of the schedule. If we lose this game, we have a lot to talk about.
So let me ask you, and this is going to be the last question, and then we'll just get around and say our goodbyes and stuff like that. But first off, to Billy Goat, yes, I agree. I know, you know, other people in the chat have chimed in. Yes, he may not have the most. He's not the most skillful right now, and he's definitely in Tibbs's doghouse. But I see no reason. But I don't even know if I saw him on the bench tonight, so I don't know. But I see no reason why in a game where you're down Jalen Brunson and then Isaiah Hartenstein immediately gets into foul trouble, that you don't call Jericho Sims' number. I don't know why. I don't get it. Unless he wasn't there, but I think he was. I don't know why. Tibbs still does this. This gets me upset and reminds me of old Tibbs, that time when Jericho Sims was on the bench and he decided to play Taj Gibson 36 minutes in a game. You know, like, whatever. I can't deal with that. That was a couple years ago. I don't want to see that anymore. But I want to ask you guys, this is a kind of twofold question. A quick yes or no, and then what are you looking forward to with regards to it? Are any of you guys looking forward to January 20th? And what are you looking forward to on January 20th? Those out there who don't know what January 20th is, the Toronto Raptors are coming to the Garden on January 20th. RJ and IQ are coming back, baby. So let me start with Jigga. Are you looking forward to that? And if you are, or you're not, what are you thinking about with that?
Look, I said on our show, Ron, I'm not one of those fans that's like, oh, you're in my heart forever. You know, I'm not like a lot of you that watch every NBA game and watch all the other ones. I watch my Knicks. All right. Thank you, RJ. Thank you, IQ. But that time has passed. I'm not worried about them. So yeah, is it gonna be fun? Is it gonna be good content? Should it be a good game? Great. But it's not like I'm counting down the days. I'm more focused on what the hell's gonna happen with these Rockets, bro.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's interesting. Hector, what's your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I'm excited to see them back in the Garden. I know the energy is going to be electric. What I'm most looking forward to, obviously, the reception that both of them get, but I want to see how they play against their old team. If you guys remember the game against Indiana, when Julius was on the block against Obi, it got a little spicy, right? Obi got a little spicy with Julius Randle in the low post. So I want to see what happens when IQ and RJ, when they come back in the building, if driving to the lane, they get a little spicy with Julius Randle also.
Yeah. I could actually see RJ getting his shot punched by Hartenstein. Yeah, so we'll see. John, what's your thoughts? Are you? I know how John is, but I mean, I'm gonna ask you anyway.
No, I'm looking forward to that game actually.
Okay.
I think I think more importantly the Rockets. You got to take care of business against the Rockets. They got a good player in Segun, future All-Star. That kid's gonna be a problem. But again, if you get that win against the Rockets, I think we'll go. We'll try to go for 3 in a row because there's no way you lose. You better not lose to the Wizards right before that. So then you get that win against the Rockets. You get a good win, momentum win against the Wizards. Keep it going into the Garden against our former players, man. And I think we can come off victorious in that as well because we should know how to defend both Barrett and IQ. I mean, we've had them long enough, so we should know how to defend against them, and we should be able to come up ahead. But I'm looking forward to that. I think they'll get a great ovation by the Knicks fans, but I think they're also going to try to come at our head. So, I expect a lot of key blocks. You know what I mean for Hartenstein because Barrett's going to try to go to the basket, do what he does. And then IQ, I expect DiVincenzo and and Hart to lock them down. Grimes, I would like to see that matchup. Grimes and Quick, that's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
So yeah,
before I get over to Phil, who obviously is not looking forward to this matchup at all. There's nothing he's looking forward to about this. I just wanted to say to Keith Turner.
Yeah.
He is frozen.
Oh man.
He's stuck in the Matrix.
Well, he might come right back. Hold on, we'll see. But I wanted to say, shout out to Keith Turner. Keith was like, "What was Sims going to change?" I'm gonna tell you something right off the bat, Keith. You're a Knicks fan. You watch this team. You know one of our biggest strengths, even when we didn't have the 3-point shooting that we're getting this year, is our rebounding. We got out rebounded by Orlando tonight, 46-41. So another guy like Jericho Sims, who has a big size body, who can leap, that's a guy who could have made a difference. Maybe you stop a guy like Batadze from getting 11 rebounds. You know what I mean? Like, this matters. Those rebounds could have made the difference in the game. And there was a couple loose balls that the Knicks couldn't get to in the fourth quarter. So I'm not saying Jericho Sims would have been there in the fourth quarter, but maybe if he would have been there earlier and got us some other loose balls, so that way he could have spelled Hartenstein, so maybe Hartenstein wouldn't have picked up so many fouls going forward, then he could have been a little bit more aggressive in the fourth quarter. Because his aggression was sapped in the fourth quarter. It was like Matador. He couldn't really do anything because he knew everything he did was a foul. So anyway, let me get over to Phil. Phil, obviously, I know as I was telling the guys, you don't care about this game at all. You're not looking forward to it, even though it looks like he put on a RJ jersey. No, guys, that it's all a mirage.
Nah, here's the thing. I'm a little bit opposite of Jigga. In the sense of, like, for me, yes, I'm all about the team. Like, the OG trade was the best thing for our team in the end. However, that does not write off the fact that I think that RJ Barrett and IQ were both mishandled by the organization. Like, at the end of the day, like, if it's a player that I feel like came in and just failed the system, it's one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm glad you're gone now, you know? But when I feel like it's the system that failed the player, I'm not as easy to just write off that player, you know? Like, I want that player to succeed. I want that player to still do well. And yes, there's limitations to RJ's game, and I feel like, you know, our RJ still gave his all to being a Knick. You know, do I feel like they did everything they can since his rookie year to give him the keys and invest in him as that third, you know, draft in the third pick in the draft? No, I don't. Like, as soon as they brought him in, they also brought in Randall and Portis and gave those guys, you know, the keys more so than him, and tried to make this team a power forward focused team, not a shooting guard, you know, top 3 pick kind of team. And then same with IQ. IQ comes in, shows promise off the bat in his rookie year. Yet he's behind Alfred Payton, and then he's behind Alec Burks, who's not even a freaking point guard, you know? And so those are players that I do feel were mishandled. They did develop, you know, especially IQ, he did develop, so I'm not going to say he didn't get anything out of being a Knick, but I do feel like he was mishandled in his time as a Knick. So I do want to see them succeed. Do I want them to beat us? No, not at all. But do I want to see them still thrive in their careers? Of course I do. You know, and so for me, what I'm looking forward to in that game is IQ talks about how he learned a lot in his game behind Jalen Brunson. So it's always a cool thing to watch sensei versus student. Like, always. Like, that's always an entertaining thing to witness, is when a student is able to compete against those that they understudied. You know, and so being able to watch that is going to be really cool, to be able to see Emmanuel quickly have the keys and see how he does against Jalen Brunson. Same with Julius Randle and RJ. You know, RJ and Julius Randle, you know, Randle says, I'm big brother. You know, that's little brother to me. Okay, cool. Let's see how it is when it's in competition. Let's see how lovely that brotherly love is there, you know, when it's competing. Because Julius Randle also said, you know, oh, you know, I want nothing but the best for Obi Toppin. You know, that's my guy. You know, I want to see him succeed. Nothing but love for him. Like, you know, I'm going to miss him. And yet you saw that friction as soon as they played.
It looked a little different. It looked a little different.
Yeah, action spoke a lot louder than his words did when it came to that. You know, so I want to see what actually happens. Yes, I do feel like RJ Barrett is going to get snuffed at the rim against his old team. Like, that's just inevitable. But he's playing a lot smarter in Houston. You know, he had a great game tonight. Him and IQ, top scorers, you know, in their game tonight against Boston. You know, so I do feel like they're able to play differently there. So being able to watch them play differently against the Knicks is going to be a very entertaining game.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to be tough for RJ, I think, because the team knows him so well. Randall's just going to go right next to him, hit that little button on the back of his leg, and his legs are going to go to jelly. It's going to be crazy. Watch. He's going to be wild. Anyway, listen. I think this was a fantastic show, guys. I am really happy and excited that in the midst of this loss, I had these fine gentlemen here from Morning Brew Sports to kind of help me, because you know what? If I'm going to talk people off the ledge on Saturday, sometimes I need somebody to talk me off the ledge on Monday. And this is what this is about, man. This is the therapy that I needed.
This would have been, this is the perfect show to have at this moment in time, because I wasn't going to be able to talk him off the ledge. I would have pushed him right through it. Keep going.
So I want to just get around final words to you guys. Anything that you want to say, and you know, once again, I want to, you know, say thank you to the chat, everybody, for being here and supporting and rocking with us tonight. Smash that like button on your way in. As I always say, smash that like button on your way out, and keep showing love for not only Still Niggas but Morning Brew. So, Jigga, final words, my brother.
Nah, man, just shout out to you and John, man. Appreciate you guys rocking with us since day one. And it's stuff like this, man. We love being able to win or lose, still come here and chop it up with you guys. And luckily, you had like 50-something people that want to hang out and talk shit with us. So that makes it even better. But love you guys. Appreciate everything and all the support. And, you know, I'm hoping we get a bounce back on this next one, you know. And Phil, before we go, I just got to say that whole thing you talked about with RJ, like you should go back and cut it with like an HBO documentary style. The grasshopper comes back to fight the sensei. Like you had the whole narrative. Bro, you sold me on that game on the 20th. You know? I'm just saying. But I appreciate you guys.
There you go.
Speak to the chat.
Yeah. And thank you guys. Like I said, once again, thanks for tuning in because I know Monday nights is tough, man. You guys don't know in the content creator community, Monday nights is jam packed. It's wild. Heck, final words, my brother.
Thank you, Ron, John, for having us on. Been knowing you fellas for the past 2-3 years. John, can't wait to go to some Yankee games this year, my guy. Gotta let me know we set that up. But again, shout out to the chat. Shout out to all of you guys, different content creators that are out there right now. I just want to say this. The Knicks can have all the effort players in the world. Dante, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson when he comes back. But if you have no effort from Julius Randle, the guy who's supposed to be the face of the franchise, the guy that spoke to the crowd today on MLK Day, if that guy pops up and shows up and lays a goose egg, you ain't going far in the postseason.
Damn, that is a mic.
He wanted to throw one more dagger before we all left tonight. He's like, whoop-ya!
He not only threw the dagger and he hit you with
saying.
he spoke to the crowd on MLK Day. Facts.
Just saying, bro.
Facts,
saying.
bro. Oh my god.
Damn, Hector.
Damn, that's rough.
He
bro.
saved that shit, Ron. He saved it.
Yeesh. Man.
Subscribe to Morning Brew Sport. We trying to get to 3K. Subscribe to Morning Brew Sport.
Subscribe. Drop a likey.
Yeesh. I didn't know it was gonna be like that, man. All right, Phil.
Wow. That's how I'll start mine. Wow. Yep. Subscribe, I guess, if you still like us. But thank you to Ron and John. You guys have been like family to us. And you know what I love about opportunities like this is misery really does love company. And my wife could care less if the Knicks lose. So I don't want to ruin her day by pulling her down into my depths of despair. So having you guys there to like vomit with this evening has been like a serious blessing. But at the end of the day, we're Knicks fans, and we're not trying to hate on anybody. We're just trying to want the best for our team. At the end of the day, we all want the best for our team. We want to win. Anyone who is a basketball fan or a Knick fan and you don't want to win, I just don't understand it. Like, I can't rock with that. I want our team to be the best it can be, and that's why we critique the way that we do. There's not a single player that is higher or better than our critique. We will never love a certain player so much that we won't be completely honest about what we're seeing, highs or lows. So we want the best. Let's root for the best. Let's see what happens. And until next time, go Knicks.
There you go. Appreciate you guys. John, final words, my brother.
As always, this was a pleasure. Appreciate you guys for jumping on with us. To those of you on the chat, appreciate you all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay warm because we got some bad weather coming upon us. So stay well, stay healthy, and like I said, stay warm. All right, have a good one. Looking forward to the next one. Peace.
Appreciate you, my brother. John is the Russell Simmons of the show. Thank you and good night. Just a couple quick things that I want to get off right before we get out of here. First off, shout out because the way we do our Monday show, we're on a different system, guys. So things don't just pop up anymore. I have to read it to you guys. So I don't want to feel like I missed you, Parrish. Thank you, Paris, for the generous super chat. He said Knicks fans are very disappointing in writing off Sims. Tibbs completely sabotaged Sims by starting him from 25 DMPs and ruined his season for now. Listen, I mean, as I said, I told you guys last year, and I'm not doing the I told you so thing. I'm saying it to say that for whatever reason, there's something going on with Tibbs and Sims. He doesn't listen. If Tibbs could get Sims up out of here right now, I definitely think he would, but there's no reason to unless you're getting something back that you can benefit from. So he's just on the roster holding a spot. But something's up with Tibbs and Sims. I don't know what it is. But
Tibbs is jealous because of Sims' hair. Let's be honest. Tibbs is just mad. He wishes he could have that luscious dome of hair on top of his head. Tibbs is just a hater.
Well, that could be it. I think Hector cracked it, guys. That's where it lies. So I just wanted to say this real quick before we get out of here. Maybe about a month ago or a little over, maybe it's more than a month and a half. I don't know. I went on my whole little high horse and I said I was getting a little upset with the fact that Morning Brew Sports was not getting the viewership that it deserved. They're a channel that gives you, and shout out to Glamour Knicks. I see she says she subscribed tonight, so shout out to you.
Yes,
she's good people. So, if you don't know what Morning Brew Sports Network is, I mean, these guys have cultivated and put together any and everything. If you root for a certain team, if you root for the Mets, they got a Met channel. If you root for the Yanks, they got a Yankee channel. A really promising, blossoming Yankee channel, by the way. Like some people are starting to go to that Yankee channel as the inside source. So holla at you, Hector.
The host of the Yankees Brew is a good guy. He's very nice.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Just
so you got Yankees, you got Jets with my guy Jig over here, and that show is popping with all types of special guests. And they've got the Island, the Brew, and the Rookie Brew, and all types of rookie podcast stuff. They got so many different things going on. They've got this other thing with the guy and the girl, and I forgot the name of that one. What's the name?
GG show. Yeah,
the GG show. Right? They got so much. So I just want you guys to understand, it's a lot going on over there. So it's not just a Knicks show. There's so many different things. So if you like other things, they got that for you too. So please support the Morning Brew Sports Network, as well as when there's time and it permits, and my guy is not busy out there photographing the world. Phil's got his connoisseur show where he gets into the fine liqueurs, if you will, little music and little other, entertainment. So when that's going to be popping up again, I'm sure, when he has time for it. So they just got so many different avenues that they take you down. So please support them. But anyway, my point is the winded story was at that time they weren't getting the views that I thought they deserved. I said what I had to say, and I'm not saying it's because of me. I'm just saying I'm happy because since then they have gotten so much love and respect. They are the fastest growing channel in this Knicks community outside of maybe Knicks recap, because anyway. But so I wanted to just say I appreciate you guys. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that all of the people in the chats are supporting and showing love to your shows. And shout out to my guy Eddie Presti too. Eddie Presti for the bottom line. That's another segment they got. There's just so much content over there. So please continue to show them love. They're almost at 3,000 subscribers. I mean, they're flying.
Almost there.
Show them some love and go like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for Morning Brew Sports Network, man. Pew, 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 pew.
No, you're crying. I'm not crying. You're crying, Ron.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's my turn to go. As I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knicks fans. We'll be back again, whether it be on Monday nights at 9 p.m. for SKF Weekly with your man Ron, John, and my brother Jose on the ones and twos, holding us down. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, whatever. It's one of them nights. Knicks lost. We weren't ready.
Oh, yeah, that one ready. He was ready.
Thank you, Jose.
Jose woke up just to do that one.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. Thank you, Jose. Or you can check us out on Thursdays. at 8:30 p.m. for the NBA wrap-up, which is starting to be split into an NBA wrap-up and just a wrap-up. So the NBA wrap-up will be on NBK, where you'll catch us going over the NBA stuff around the league, and we'll get into different topics. And then the wrap-up will be the second half of the show on the Front Stoop channel, Simeon Russell's other channel. So if you haven't checked that out, he's got about 40,000 subscribers over there. Please tune in if you're interested in hip-hop or all things music. Check out the Front Stoop, where we'll get into the wrap-up, where we'll get into hip-hop and other things of that nature. So please show your love to both those shows. And then lastly, but not least, on Saturdays, you get with me again for Know the Ledge at 11:30-ish. And I'll talk you guys off the ledge. If today was Saturday, I would be doing a lot of talking. So it is what it is, man. I appreciate you guys once again. Thank you for tuning in. Please stay tuned to all of our programming, as well as the programming of the Morning Brew Sports Network. Next time you see them will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. For another. This will be Yankees Morning Brew. So
no,
please
tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for the Yankees.
Oh, okay, my fault. My bad. Yeah, so tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Dope. Because the Yankees are actually the Yankees actually have a professional team that's doing something. Okay, I get it. All right, whatever. I'm a Met fan. Don't. That's all right. Okay, cool. Anyway, all right, we're out of here. Thank you guys once again. It's been a great show. Peace.
Later, boys.
Peace.
Freedom over fame. Freedom over cycle stays the same.